Hey everybody, I want to let you know I'm getting some material together for you for this weekend. This is kind of an update on what's going on, and I wanted to give you a couple of updates on news, which I think are kind of funny. But one of the things that we're going to be taking a look at is geometry. And as I've shown you before, Metatron's cube, these are snowflakes, by the way, real pictures of snowflakes. As you can see, they're quite detailed, and you can see the hexagonal geometry. Some of these things are just amazing to take a look at. And in one of these instances, I took a snowflake like the one you see here, and I put it into Metatron's cube, and you can see just how perfect this thing fits in here. You can see the upside down and the right side up triangle. Here, I just showed you using some geometry the way this triangle fits perfectly in here and the way it fits perfectly on the other direction. And you can see where these major points are. For example, this hexagon right here, where it stops inside one of the larger triangles. You can see how the geometry builds on itself, and why Metatron's cube is so important in all of this, and why we are going to see it in megaliths and stuff like that, which I've already shown you, but why it's so important, why this particular geometry is so important. But in addition to that, and because this geometry right here, it tells us things that you don't have to rely on a corporation like NASA or an institution like NASA to be able to find out things about the universe and where you are and what you live on and stuff like that. And that's what brings me to something very interesting about the whole flat Earth subject. I was thinking last night, wow, um, what a perfect psyop this thing actually was, because now we just have news that came out and it says the flat earthers are back. It's almost like the beginning of a new religion, and it says YouTube videos and spiffy websites, and it's talking about a conspiracy theory, and it makes these guys look completely insane. This is one of the things I knew was going to happen. And it's definitely like the start of a new religion. I mean, just take a look. We have people calling other people demon worshippers and stuff like that, that they worship the ball and the demon if they believe in the globe, and things like that. They're so evil that these same types of people would vaccinate their own children and do harm to their children, which is what Santos said. But it's just like it's like a new religion. And I was thinking, wow, this is such a perfectly engineered psyop. Because if you think about it, on one hand, what you have is you have the mainstream news now able to use this as a tool against people. And so now they can make everybody look stupid, okay, by putting this out there. On the other side, and so that way anybody out there on YouTube creating videos and everything like that, they're all going to be looked upon. They're all going to be put in the same bucket of insane people, just like we see right here, with the start of a new religion, which is exactly, if you've noticed, the way that these people act too. They're usually very, very angry people, very upset about things. The majority of them, I'm not saying all of them, the majority of them do act like this. They just lash out at people. And then, of course, we have, one of these teachers that I mentioned before, he's calling people demon worshippers, dunces, and things like this. It is exactly what this is. It is a beginning of a new religion. I thought we got over this a long time ago, but we didn't. But back to the PSYOP. So now we have the mainstream news, which is what I predicted, coming out to make everybody look stupid. Okay, I knew this was going to happen. On the other side of the coin, you have all the people that fell into it. And so anybody else that was out there, now you can all take away stuff like megaliths because they're not real. You can't look at any of the planets in the sky anymore. They're not real. They're all CGI cartoon images. And they, of course, put a Disney character on Pluto. These are all you can't look at these. The sun isn't real. The moon isn't real. They're just disks. So all the stuff, megaliths, places on the earth. You can't look at Google Earth because Google Earth is actually lying to you too, so you can't look at that either. So all of these things that you would normally use in order to research our past, including math from the Great Pyramid that shows how the Great Pyramid is tied to the dimensions of the earth in different scales and stuff like this, and the math that's shown inside of it, the math that we find in Stonehenge, all of these things have to be discounted now because the earth is flat, right? So you can't look at all these other things now because everyone is lying to you, because everything is built off of a lie. So what a perfect engineering feat this was, because what it did was two things. It causes the mainstream media to make people look stupid, and it caused the people that got caught up in this stuff to have to discount everything, all of the evidence in front of them from all the ancient civilizations and everything else that shows evidence of the geometry and everything that's used in these megaliths and stuff like that that tell us about where we live and how it's a globe and everything else, like the Great Pyramid and these other ancient structures. We have to discount all of that now. So it's perfect. They got both sides of the coin. So now anybody else that comes out with something that is actually interesting and has something relevant, they have to fight the mainstream media because they're coming up with something other than the official story. And then they have to fight the flat earthers too because it can't be real because the earth is flat, and so we have to discount all the things that we see in the sky, the planets, the stars, and everything else. How perfectly engineered this was. Anyways, just an update. I've got news coming up for you soon, and I think it's also funny too because another thing that we're going to get to see is now we have Planet X. Now we have a ninth planet, apparently, that's in our solar system. So now we're going to get to hear from all of the Nephilim Anunnaki people, in addition to the Flat Earth people. I'm guessing that there's probably going to be some kind of a fight in between both of them to see who's going to win, because on one side we're going to have the Nephilim, Anunnaki, ancient alien, these types of people. And by the way, Planet X, as the way it was described by Sitchin, is a bunch of BS. And then we have the people on the flat Earth side that's going to say Planet X can't be real because the Earth is flat and everything else in the sky are CGI cartoon images. So it's going to be really interesting to see the back and forth between that crowd go. So, and this is what happens, folks, from people who do not do good critical analysis. When everything is based off, or its foundation is based on the fact that everyone else is lying, it's not helpful. Real esoteric science builds upon science. It doesn't go out there and claim everybody else is lying and try to wipe the slate clean, and then it's not the way that it works. So anyway, it's going to be an interesting thing to see. Planet X people versus Flat Earth people. Who's going to win? But nevertheless, while that's going on, I'm going to continue showing you the geometry that we're going to see, tying this stuff to things like Stonehenge, the Great Pyramid, geometry on the Earth. I'm even going to talk about a little bit about Graham Hancock's Magician of the Gods, and some of the things he brought up in that in a presentation before his book was released. So it's going to be some interesting stuff coming up that I'll have for you this weekend. So you guys take care, and I'll talk to you soon.